Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is a thoroughbred underdog, and this is another episode of IWL in Wrestling Life. Today's topic is going to be gimmicks. And speaking of gimmicks, I have adopted the gimmick of Sick Boy, former Raven slot member, because I am severely under the weather as I record this video for you guys. But I had to give you one this week because last week I was absent. I might actually give you two today. This one this afternoon and the one I later do in the evening. So this week we're talking about gimmicks. And for the uninitiated, gimmick in wrestling is the character that one adopts and takes upon and shows and enunciates with and dresses up as. It's like a costume, right? Some of the most successful gimmicks, probably the most successful gimmick of all time was The Undertaker. You know, the dead man gimmick, the dead Western mortician is what he started with. And then later iterations, he evolved it to wear much darker gear, and he became the cult leader Undertaker. And then he left out being the last outlaw Undertaker. This is after he became the American Badass, but he stayed evolving the gimmick. Even today's modern gimmicks, one of the most successful is probably Orange Cassidy. You got Wendy Choo. Wendy Choo has got the always sleepy, somnambulistic gimmick. She's like a sleepwalker. And then Orange Cassidy has the just laid back, chill guy who's always at the party and just doesn't speak, just gives you hand motions. Hands always in his pocket, too cool for school. One of the best gimmicks today, but he can also work. So how does this relate to life? Well, in life, we have to put on costumes. Sometimes when we go to work, we have to put on a costume. Literally, sometimes. Dress codes at some of these places we work. And we have to match the costume with our actions because it promotes the integrity of the company we work for. So I'm so under the weather, guys. Let me drink some of this Theraflu. So sometimes we have to put on a costume, just like this Batman figure here. And we have to act accordingly. We have to speak accordingly. The way Clark Kent is far different than what he is when he has on the Superman outfit. The way Undertaker is when he has on the dead man garb, the long trench coat, and the hat. I'm struggling here, sorry guys. It's far different than Mark Calloway, the person, the human being. Now, gimmicks are good because you have to remember where you came from. And a lot of the most successful gimmicks sometimes are an extension of the way the person is, i.e. Stone Cold Steve Austin, i.e. Brock Lesnar now. Brock Lesnar has probably gotten more over with the fans now than he's ever been with the cowboy gimmick because Brock is a farm boy. Brock is a cowboy from South Dakota, and now he's in Canada. Brock is a farmer. So now that he's adopted and added that to his character on screen, he's way more happy. He seems more beatific. He's more interactive with the fans because Brock was never a people person. It's widely known in the industry that he's not. But when you see him on camera these days, this is going to be like my flu game episode. You see him interacting with fans more, shaking hands, giving kids the nuggie and stuff like that, smiling more, having more fun, delivering more promos, authentic promos as Brock Lesnar. Because not only is this his gimmick, but it's him. So it's an extension of himself. And sometimes with a gimmick, you have to maintain the identity that got you over. Now, some may say it's not about what people think, but in a lot of places it is. Um, your gimmick and the way you behave, your character, is what gets you higher up in life. It ranks you up. Even in dating, which could kind of be confused because, all right, well, you put on a gimmick. Is this who you really are? When's the mask going to fall off, right? But that's one of those situations where you have to become, or if you aren't already, extend and maintain the character you had. Because it's what got you over with who you're with, your significant other. A lot of people lose sight of that. Sometimes you might be better off without a gimmick, or your gimmick might suck, i.e. Mordecai. But if your gimmick is successful, who you are successful because you try new things and you experiment with new things and things like that. You want to maintain that to get over with who, you're trying to appeal to. Sometimes you have to go through multiple identities and gimmicks before you finally reach success. Look at Kane. Kane was a Christmas creature. He was an unofficial member of Demolition with he looked like a Demolition member with the whole, strap-on gear and stuff like that. He was Bruiser Mastino. He was an evil dentist. And he also was a fake version of Diesel. It wasn't until he got to Kane, the gimmick of Kane and the character, that got him over. And that's the thing about gimmicks, is that a lot of times you do have to change up your character and try different things and try to get into different things to appeal to very important people. Hey, it may be an employer, right? It may be a girl. It may be a guy you're trying to get to. So sometimes you do have to put on a costume and become that person. You know what I mean? Some people have to do that. Some people don't. There's a lot of wrestlers who made it without a gimmick. And then back in the 90s, we had everyone having a gimmick. Everybody was some type of occupation, IRS, evil clown, doink. But there are some of those that didn't work. There were some of those that every time these people go to conventions, this is who they are, because this is what got them over. You never forget where you came from. You should never forget what got you most successful. You should never forget, what got you over. And try not to, when you get to a point, let yourself forget what got you successful and become an asshole. Because some people don't acknowledge what got them most successful. Some people become like $1 million man, Ted DiBiase. When they get rich, they forget what got them over. They don't want anything to do with it. It's kind of like that artist, right? That musician that has their most famous song, and they don't acknowledge it. They don't want to play it at shows because they're a different person now. They don't own it. It's just like Undertaker would never go back to the cult leader. He's a good Christian now. He's really big into the faith. So we'll never get, nor did we ever get, the heel ministry taker again. Satanic cult leader Undertaker. But it's okay because that wasn't his most successful version. His most successful version was probably, it's hard to say. Probably when he first started in the 90s with the old school Western Mortician. But he started having his best matches in the early, I say when he came back in 2004 with the gimmick. After the abandonment of the American Badass gimmick in the match with Vince McMahon, the Buried Alive match. When Taker came back in 2004, he was on another level in ring-wise. He had the matches with Kurt Angle. He had the matches with he just started showing more moves off in his arsenal, doing triangle chokes to finish people off, STOs into um, arm bars and things like that. Just a more MMA martial arts based moveset. Even started wearing MMA gloves and um, things like that. And having his best matches with John Cena, not the one at Mania, not too recently ago. I'm talking about back when on an episode of SmackDown, that's a really good match. Cena was like the plucky underdog in that match. So you just gotta, that's what gimmicks are about. Sometimes you might have to go through certain gimmicks, multiple gimmicks, before you reach success. Hey, sometimes you might be better without it. But the point is character. Always have character. And I don't mean be fake or anything like that, but just you got to get to know yourself better to know if you're better with a gimmick or you without it. But it's all about having character. Character is one of the pillars of life. It gets you through. And if you have a good character, to maintain that. And, embrace the good parts of yourself. And try to drop the gimmicks that didn't get you success. Just be willing to try new things and try new costumes per se, to appeal to the people that could get you where you need to get to. Be it employers or a significant other you're trying to woo and gravitate to. But just the point is, always have character. Be your best self. Don't forget where you came from. And try to keep the identity and maintain that character and identity that got you the love that you always wanted. And don't lose sight of that. Don't lose sight of yourself. So that concludes this episode. This was probably my worst episode as far as the state and condition I'm in. My nose got really stuffy. I couldn't breathe. I had to keep pausing to go back to the notes for this episode. And also take swigs of Theraflu because I'm severely under the weather. So this is probably, admittedly, my worst episode as far as performance. But I still had to be here and had to maintain my character. Take it easy, guys.